Questions. Number one, the 1855 Know Nothing riots happened in which cities? Right? So the first question is 1855 Know Nothing riots happened in which cities? There's 5 cities that it happened in the United States. Know Nothing riots were the nativists fighting against the Irish, Germans, and Catholics. Who's America's Know Nothing president? So Know Nothing was the American Party or the Native American Party or the the pre-neo-Nazi movement, right? The Nazi, I guess pre-neo would be just... but who's America's Know Nothing president? We had one Know Nothing president. He was a Whig, and then he went to a Know Nothing, but same difference. He was a Know Nothing, and he didn't get the nomination as a Know Nothing. Actually, he wound up splitting the ticket. He was president for only one term, for one semester. So it's a one-term president. It's what Mitch McConnell wanted to do to Obama, but this was a Know Nothing president. It was America's 13th president, and we only had one of them. Who is that man? Number 3, what's the day the Know Nothing riot of 1855 of Louisville called? So there was a Know Nothing riot in Louisville, right? The Know Nothing riot, and some people don't want you to say the Know Nothing riots. It's a secret, you know, keep that on the DL, on the down low. And actually it is a big, massive, like, sort of cover-up. During the, I think 1919, there was, like, just race riots all across America. There was just, basically, white people went into black neighborhoods and just started massacring and killing everybody. And it happened collectively, like, in the same year. The same, like, it's not funny, it's absolutely horrible, but, like, it's weird. Why would it be the same year? So it's almost like copycat. Entire societies were so pissed off, right, that black people had got the right to be free and be citizens, and they got the, you know, they were segregated in the neighborhood, and that wasn't good enough. So fuck them. They're gonna go just, you know, in their neighborhoods, and plus they're already disadvantaged being the minority group of a, you know, of a dominant society that actually thought of them as inferior, of a white supremacist society. And it was 100%. Take a look at all the lynching photos. You have the entire community out with their tuxes, right, and their Stetson hats and their 5-piece suits, you know, just all looking fly. Hey, look at this, we just lynched a black man. The entire society. So, you know, I would say maybe 5% might have stayed home, but the vast majority of white people in the lynching photos was very happy. They were not scared of getting in trouble. This is what we do around here. This is our community. So fuck, you know, fuck the world. And hypocritically called themselves Christians, right? And created Christians. Created Jesus Christ. Hung Jesus Christ on a cross, you know. Every innocent, lynched black person is a Jesus Christ in America. Created by so-called Christians. I just wanted to read some Jean-Jacques Rousseau, because it's going to take a couple of videos, but I just want to finish talking about the 1855 Know Nothing riots. And actually, I did notice that since this is a video, it is sort of a podcast type thing, so really just want to listen. But since it is a video and it's also choppy, right, so it's like boom, boom, boom. It's almost like a, what do they call that, the flashing lights, like a strobe light, right? So it's like flash, 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 flash. So I don't even know what, you know, part of my hand you actually got to see. Did you see the part where, you know, I was actually saying, hey, there was at one point it was 2, 4, 1 over the under flat line. You know, number 1, you just get. So, book number 2, and yeah, I got a lot of stuff to do. So actually, I'm gonna keep them 15-minute videos, and then just put it on a playlist so it could go, you know, it could go on through, but 15 minutes, nice little quick one, and then that way I could get like just a legendary one, which I'm just popping. I'm sitting there saying all the facts. I'm saying back and forth, you know, just like it's a good video, one video that you could kind of share and say, hey, check this out. It's a whole lecture series. It's kind of like this. So page 87 in the Emile. This is Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Do you know the surest means of making your child miserable is to accustom him to getting everything, since his desires grow constantly due to the ease of satisfying them. Sooner or later, powerlessness will force you, in spite of yourself, to end up with a refusal. Right? You can't give somebody everything that they want, and this unaccustomed refusal will give him more torment than being deprived of what he desires. First, he will want the cane you're holding soon. He will want your watch. After that, he will want the bird flying by. He will want the star he sees shining. He will want everything he sees. Without being God, how can you content him? It is a natural, it was a disposition natural to man to regard everything in his power as his. In this sense, Hobbes' principle is true up to a certain point. Multiply not only our desires, but the means of satisfying them, and each will make himself the master of everything. So, multiply not only our desires, but the means of satisfying them. Multiply. I don't know why we don't need to multiply. The desires are enough. They're ceaseless. They're endless. So we don't need to multiply them or decrease. Just keep them. Keep them. Don't increase. But the means of satisfying them. Multiply the means. That's important. So we have all these ceaseless desires. So we need to have multiple means of satisfying those desires. So just think Maslow's hierarchy, right? So you have food, water, clothing, shelter. So you need, these things to survive. So I need means to be able to keep those things constant. Interesting also, a disposition is natural to man to regard everything in his power as his. So if I feel like I have some power over, that is mine. So if I feel like I have power over a person, I feel like I own that person. That person is my person. The child who is only one in order to get to believe himself to be the owner of the universe regards all men as his slaves. When one is finally forced to refuse him something he believing that at his command everything is possible, takes his refusal for an act of rebellion. All reasons given him at an age when he is incapable of reasoning are to his mind only pretexts as he sees ill will everywhere, the feeling of an alleged injustice sour in his nature. He develops hatred towards everyone without ever being grateful for helpfulness. He is indignant at every opposition. How could I conceive that a child thus dominated by anger and devoured by the most irascible passions might ever be happy? He is a despot. He is at once the most vile of slaves and most miserable of creatures. I've seen children raised in this way who wanted that the house be turned over by a bump of the shoulder, that they be given the wreath cock they see on a sheeple, that a marching regiment be stopped so that the drums could be heard longer, who pierced the air with their cries, unwilling to listen to anyone as soon as there was a delay in their being obeyed, all hastened vainly to oblige them with their desires exacerbated by the ease of getting. They were obstinate about impossible things and found everywhere only contradiction, obstacles, efforts, pains, always grumbling, always rebellious, always furious. They spent their days in screaming and complaining. Were those very fortunate beings, weakness and domination joined engender only folly and misery. Of two spoiled children, one beats the table and the other has the sea whipped. They will have to do a lot of whipping and beating before they will live contently. There's if you're not revolutionary, you're going to try to make a slave out of everybody. The will to power is a natural thing for human beings, so people try to dominate over on others. It's natural, but really you have to be able to be with other people that can check each other and is cool with it, because nobody wants to be a slave and nobody wants to be, so at the very least, like, I don't know, like, I can do something for somebody, but to be like, go do that, fuck you. I'm not your slave like that, you know what I mean? Like, I'm your friend who will do a favor from time to time, but I'm not your bitch-ass fucking slave that's going to do whatever the fuck you say, you know what I mean? So, that's me. I'm a field Negro. I'm not an Uncle Tom. House Negro. Don't like to kiss ass. I don't like to suck up to other people. I like being my own person. I also don't like controlling others, too. So I like everybody to, I like my sovereignty, my personhood to be respected. So I respect every other person's sovereignty and personhood. I don't demand compliance and obedience and demand respect, or else I'll hurt you. I'm not a bully. I'm not an oppressor. I'm not a shitty person. I'm a decent person. I'm a decent guy. So if you're not a revolutionary, you're going to try to make a slave of me. The revolution is perpetual, because as long as power is a natural, a natural sort of state of nature of man, the capacity of the state of nature of man is to dominate others, since powers, since it's a natural, I guess, attribute. Since power is a natural attribute to the human person, that is to always be in check and always be guarded upon, unless you agree to, giving up your sort of your humanness and your personhood in order to accomplish a short-term project. But I don't see anybody, being owned for the rest of their lives. Like, that's insane. You have no respect for yourself, and you're the problem. You're the one that's creating a psycho. He thinks he can treat the world like slaves because he's got a slave, which is you. The answer to the 3 questions is 1855 riots. Where is the 5 cities? Columbus, right? So in 1855, you had know-nothings were all pissed off because you got the Irish who had, you know, they come over, they had all these famine, sickness, and disease, and the Irish, it was a long-standing feud between the Protestant English and the Catholic Irish, brought back on over here. Irish have been treated like dogs, actually. While I see a significant cultural differences between the Irish and between the Germans, I don't hate the Irish. I very much feel a kinship with the Irish because they are always bunched together whenever it comes to ethnic history. So they always talk about the Know-Nothing riots in Louisville was against the Irish and the Germans and the Catholics. So most Irish were Catholics, but about half of the Germans were Catholics. The other half were atheists who, you know, were revolutionaries who wanted to destroy the papacy and destroy the Pope and you know, the entire Catholic Church. So, you know, vastly the opposites, you know, complete different opposites. But they're bunched together according to the nativists because they're foreigners. They're different than what they consider themselves to be. And but compared to like Cincinnati, that was only the Germans. There was only Germans. They went into the German neighborhood to try to, basically it was a race riot against the Germans in Cincinnati in 1855 to destroy their voting machines. So they actually go into 2 wards to destroy the voting machines so that way their know-nothing candidate for mayor would win. But it was against the Germans and it wasn't against the Irish or anything else. So just because the Irish and German were always bunched together, it doesn't mean they're always on the same side or that they're, you know, most of the time actually I feel like it seems like the Irish was treated like poor peasant slave labor. And they were treated worse than the black folks because black folks were stronger than, you know, the Irish. So when it comes to disposable cheap labor, they were more prone to say, who cares? Like, I don't know, I heard a story about an Irishman fell off a boat. They were throwing stuff like somebody from the top of the pier to the boat was throwing bags of crap or something, I don't know, pig or a ham hock, I don't know. They're just tossing this stuff to each other, but they put the Irishman in the bottom because if the Irishman fell off, at least they didn't lose a black man. At least they didn't lose, you know, a good, strong, you know, worker. So the Irish probably were treated worse. They're viewed equally, right, as slave-like status, as nobodies, as petty peasants who were poor, sick, had nothing. But they were also, you know, not as strong as the. Well, that isn't always true. So that's a generalization, and so really you gotta look at the specifics on that. But in general, I would think that that's probably a good rule of thumb. So in America, after slavery was over, everybody was kind of, I don't know. There's yeah, blacks were treated way worse, but there's more remnants of the Irish being treated sort of like dogs, like shit, compared to like how the French got treated, or the Germans, or the Dutch, or not the Irish, but the Italians, or any other country in Europe. The Irish has a particular, like, you are beneath us, right? That's what England says to Ireland, you're beneath us. And the British Isles, why not the Ireland Isles? Why not just have 2 countries, Ireland and England? And what about Scotland? What are they even trying to do there? You know, why don't Scotland try to take over, or just I don't know, have the United, you know, Scotland immigrants, the Scottish Isles, they could just take over, right? Take London and then take Ireland, and then it'll be Scotland and Ireland forever, and then the British Empire will be no more. It'll be gone. And in a way, I don't know, I guess I wouldn't miss it, because the American Revolution all pivoted around overthrowing the British, and I wonder why immediately after we started allying with the British, right? We did not even side with the French Revolution because the British was protecting property rights. And so the French Revolution didn't get the support of the American people. So I wonder how that affects, you know, France supported our revolution, but we didn't support theirs, which is phenomenal. So the answer to the questions, 1855 Know-Nothing riots, it was in 5 cities, which I'm going to get to here in a second. Columbus, Ohio, Cincinnati, Ohio, New Orleans, Louisiana, Chicago, Illinois, and St. Louis, Missouri. So those are the 5, and Louisville. So there are actually 6 cities, right? So 1855, boom, Columbus, Cincinnati, New Orleans, Chicago, St. Louis, Louisville erupted. Get out of here, you German, you damn kraut, you Mick bastards, you damn potato-loving Irish, you disease-ridden, you know, get your gross. Millard Fillmore was America's Know-Nothing president, and Bloody Monday is the day that the Know-Nothing Riot of 1855, that's what it's called. Bloody Monday, Millard Fillmore, and all those cities.